Hello guys, in this video we are going to learn one of the important concepts or something that's very useful. It is called as array. Um, it's a container that helps us to store some of the values. So till now what we have seen is the use of the variables. These variables are specific to one instance or one value, but let's say you want to store a set of values together. That is where we can have the concept of arrays coming into picture, or some other containers also, which we'll see in the next videos. So to begin with, let's learn about arrays. So the way arrays work is that firstly you'll have to have this arrays included, and then just do std array, and you need to tell what is the type of data that you're going to store in this container. For example, if you're going to store integers, then we have to tell we are going to store integers, and how many of those elements are you going to put into this container. Let's say I want to put 5. I can tell 5. If I want to put 10, I can tell 10. So it depends on how many elements you want to put inside this container. And okay, let's, for this example, let me say 5. And I will provide a name for that particular array. And then what we can do is tell what those elements are. Say, for example, I will tell 22, then 23, then maybe 56, and then maybe 12, and then maybe 78. So 5 elements is what I have defined. And this is how you tell, or this is how you create that array or that container wherein it stores the elements of the type integer, 5 such elements, and these are those 5 elements. So this is how you can create those containers. And once you have them, what you can do is kind of iterate over them. So when we talk about iteration, you have already learned about for loops. So let's use the for loops now. Say, for example, I will tell the index is going to be starting from 0, and the index will be less than, or as long as the index is less than 5, and plus plus the index. Okay, this is the for loop syntax that we are already familiar with. So just a few things before we continue. So when you have a container like this called as an array, and you want to access a specific element, let's say you want to access this 56 over here. So the way for you to access that would be, you just have to tell what is the name of the array and use the square brackets and provide an index to that particular position or to that particular element. And the indexing in the case of the array always begins from 0. So if you say array of 0, then we are pointing to this particular element over here, 22. So if you say array of 1, we are pointing to 23. If you say array of 2, we are pointing to 56. So if you have an array of the size 5, then the last element will be at the position 5 minus 1, that's nothing but 4. So it starts from 0, and that's how it iterates: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you have an array of the size 5, the last element will have the index 4. So that is how array works, and that is the reason why in this particular for loop, the index that I'm using, I'm starting it with 0, and I'm looping as long as it is less than 5, because we want to loop only until here. Once this is done, now let us see how the looping works, and then all we have to do is use an cout and then use array, and access that particular index like the way we saw above, and just use the end line. That's all. Okay, so let us print this particular code, and let's see how it works. Okay, so code cpp, so we compile, and now let's execute. So there you go. We have an array, a container, which is storing elements of the type integers, 5 such elements. These are those elements. And using the for loop, we have been able to iterate over this container, access each of those individual elements, and then print. Okay, so 22, 23, 56, 12, and 78. So this is the way for you to use the arrays. Very, very useful, very, very handy. Another additional thing that you can do along with this is, let's say you want a way to directly access the last element or directly access the first element. So what you could do is use one of its functions called as front and back. So let's say we use front, and in the similar way, if we use something called as back, then we are going to point to the last element. Front helps us in pointing to the first element, and the back helps us in pointing to the last element. So the front will point to 22 if you want to access this directly. Back will help you to point to 78. Okay, so let's print this again and see the output just to see. So after 78, again, you see 22 and 78 being printed, 22 because of the front that we have here, and then 78 because of the back. So this is one more additional way in which you can use the front and back functions of the arrays. So that's all in this video. This is how you can use the arrays. We'll meet in the next video. Thank you.